Welcome back. Welcome to the Premier Mindset by Premier Performance LLC. I'm your host, Trent Mailer, LCSW, and this is episode 24. There's information in the show notes. If there's anything you're looking for, I would check there first. If you want access to research or anything like that, let me know. That's where I will put it. Just let me know what you're looking for, and I will make that accessible to you guys. We have videos of the episodes on YouTube and Spotify, so feel free to check it out on there if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or anywhere else. And we will share clips on social media so you can get little bite-sized pieces of the information, not have to listen to the entire podcast to get little tools and tips that you can use in your life. And that's the goal of a lot of our social media channels, is to really just get this stuff out there in accessible ways in your daily life. Try and put stuff out on a daily basis so you can constantly see things and check stuff out. The podcast itself is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Make sure to get it wherever it works best for you. Chances are you're listening to it on one of those. So if you're doing it, keep doing it. And if you'd like to get it somewhere else, just let me know. Make sure to follow and subscribe. Click the bell to get notified on YouTube to make sure to get new content as it comes out. We like to put things out daily, and we like to put out new podcasts weekly. If it is helpful in any way, make sure to like or love or favorite the show. Share it to others. Get it out there. That would help us out. We're trying to get this to as many people as possible just to increase the reach and also to help people out that are struggling. And if you did get something or you have some feedback, make sure to leave a review. We love hearing from you guys. Anything you can give us would be awesome. We love hearing what you guys have to think on these things. So today's episode, people that could get help from this would be those maybe struggling to find the zone with whatever they're doing, whatever they're getting into. And we're going to talk about two different methods that help us get there, to help us lock in, to find success with the performance that we're going after, whether we're competing in a game or going after something in business or something in our career or something else. At the same time, though, this is not a replacement for therapy or medical treatment. This is purely educational. If there is something you need, make sure to go get it. We are doing this to increase awareness and help give some tools, give some access to things, maybe even start some conversations to help you guys go get what you need ultimately. Because as good as this stuff might be, it's not going to take care of everything for you. You're going to need to take care of things for yourself and have it tailored to what you need in your situation. I'm just trying to give out stuff that might be helpful or might point you in a direction. With that, I make it a point to give you actionable tools to find success in your life, and it's all evidence-based. It's not just random things. The reason for that is I know your life is busy and you've got a lot going on, and I know you hear about constant things to try all the time, all over the place. So with that in mind, I'm trying to give you guys things that work, that's backed by the most research and evidence as I can find, because I don't want you wasting your time trying something that's not backed by anything. So everything I'm giving you is always backed by something. And if you want to understand what that backing is, whether it's science or research or anything else, just let me know. I can always reveal those things. I just don't want to get super caught up in that, because then we spend the whole episode talking about, getting into the really deep details of things, and sometimes we can get lost in that. So make sure to try these things out and let me know how it's going. If you want to reach out, there's a lot of different ways to do so. You could reach out to my email at tmailer@premierperformancereno.com. My last name is spelled Mahler. You could text or call me directly at 775-561-0056. We got the Instagram and the TikTok with the same name, Premier_Performance_Reno, for both of those. And then the Facebook page and the LinkedIn page have the same name as well, Premier Performance LLC, for both of those. On top of that, we have the Twitter or the X profile at Premier Reno LLC. Make sure to follow along on all of those. Join the community, get involved. We like to put things out on there, and I want to make sure you guys are in touch with what's going on to make sure you get access to everything that's coming out. Today, we're going to talk about self-talk and visualization. These two things are big with, reaching peak performance with anything we're doing. They can hype us up. They can get us ready. They could help us visualize success before we're even there and help create a reality that we want to have as our reality. So we're going to jump into a lot of stuff about this, people that have used it, ways to use it yourself, how to take advantage of it in your life or in your career. And from there, we'll even go into some difficulties and some things to look out for. But first, we're going to do our brain activity. The brain activity today is called mental rehearsal. So pick a real upcoming situation you want to excel in, whether it be a meeting, a presentation, a game, or even a tough conversation. And the first thing you want to do is close your eyes and walk through it in detail from start to finish. Picture the environment, the lighting, the sounds, the layout. Feel your body posture, breathing, and the movements. Hear the sounds you expect, your own voice, others speaking, background noise. Just really put yourself in the environment. From there, you want to run multiple versions of this event, of this situation. First, you want to do it everything going exactly as planned. Second, you want things going wrong, but you responding effectively. And you want to just keep going through different things going wrong just to figure out kind of what your plan B or plan C or plan D or whatever else it would be in this situation as things do go wrong. Because in situations, things tend to not go as planned. That's normal. So we want to visualize things going as planned, but we also got to be wary of preparing for things going wrong and having that plan in our back pocket ready to go. So if that does happen, we're already ready and we can take care of it. We can handle it. From there, you also want to engage all senses. Make sure to see, hear, feel, even smell or taste if it's relevant with this situation, with you, what you have going on. We want to put ourselves there as much as we can. That sensory information really helps us lock it in. And you want to do this daily until it feels like muscle memory. You're building this up for yourself to be able to manage it so when you are in the exact situation that you're practicing, you feel ready to go. And if anything goes wrong, you've already prepared for it. You already know what to do. So this could be very powerful for anything that's giving you any anxiety, anything that's stressful or feels like a struggle, anything you're just fearful of. The more you do this, the more confidence you get. You kind of build yourself up and you make it easier. Practice always makes things easier, so let's make sure to get that rehearsal into this aspect of our life as well. And if it's helpful, if it's working, keep doing it. Use it on a different situation. Use it on another conversation, right? Just keep keeping these things involved. We don't want to get rid of these things after we try it once and it worked, or maybe it didn't. We want to keep on adding things to the toolbox, which means we have to keep these tools sharp and we got to keep them being used. If we don't use them, things kind of fall apart. There's a lot of very talented people that have used these things. One of those is swimmer Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time, prepared for races through visualization. He mentally rehearsed every aspect of his swims, including the feel of the water and the crowd sounds, going back to that sensory information we were talking about in the brain activity. This practice helped him anticipate challenges such as his goggles filling with water during the 200-meter butterfly at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, where he won gold and set a world record. And he did that while things were going wrong because he was ready for it. He was prepared. He didn't freak out because he already had gone through it in his mind. This is why we do this. Is it sets us up for success because we're not going to freak out and start flailing and grabbing for anything possible to try and get through it. We're just going to go to the plan and get to work and do what we got to do, and we could still be successful even if things aren't going as planned. Another person that does this stuff, that took advantage of it, is Katie Ledecky. She's the most decorated female swimmer in world championship history, and she also utilizes visualization. She states, I have my goals and I visualize things to help me achieve those goals. I know what my stroke should feel like at different parts of the race, and I can just kind of picture that in my mind. So again, she's preparing herself by understanding how tired she should feel, how the stroke should feel going through the water, the amount of water she's able to move as she's propelling herself forward, everything involved with this race. She's looking at that and preparing for that visually and in her practice to help her be ready for when that race is on. We want to set ourselves up in practice so we can go find that success when the competition really begins. One thing to ask yourself is if someone could hear your self-talk and watch your mental movie before you perform, would it help you or hurt you? The reason I bring this up is we got to reflect on what we're doing. Is the stuff you're doing actually helpful to you, or is it trying to tear you down? Sometimes we just accept these things because it's there and we say that's just what it is and act as if there's no control over it and that we can't do anything to change it. And that's not true. And by the end of today's episode, you're going to have a lot of ways to think about this in different ways to hopefully find that success and not get caught up of just accepting whatever your mind is giving you at that time and actually consciously setting yourself up to think how you want to think and visualize things in the ways that you want it to go. So keep this in mind and reflect on that as you're going through this. And keep in mind how your self-talk and your visualization is impacting you now currently in your everyday life or in your career or even your relationships. Because it might be causing a lot of damage and you have no idea. What is self-talk? Self-talk is the internal dialogue you have with yourself, the constant stream of words, thoughts, and narratives running in your head throughout the day. It could be conscious, something you deliberately tell yourself, like, I've got this, or stay calm. It could be unconscious, thoughts that just pop in, like, this is going to be a disaster, or that was dumb. So there's different types of it, and some of these are a little easier to control than others. I like to use a lot of EMDR to help with the unconscious stuff. The conscious stuff is a little easier to change and adjust, but we still got to be aware of both. Self-talk shapes your emotions, your behavior, and performance because your brain tends to believe what it repeatedly hears. Over time, it could either build you up with positive or constructive self-talk, such as I can figure this out, or it could break you down, like negative or destructive self-talk, aka I always screw this up. Your brain is listening to you and your body's paying attention. And if it's hearing the same narrative all the time, it's going to start living by that narrative. We talked about narratives in a past episode. If you're curious about that, make sure to go back to that and check that out. But this is a big part of it. It's the way we talk to ourselves. We're slowly building that narrative right now through these words. The performance edge comes from recognizing the self-talk that's running in the background and then deliberately replacing what's unhelpful with language that supports your goals. We're physically getting out the things that aren't helping us to replace them with better things that's going to propel us towards success. With success, it's not an accident. It's not. You don't just luck your way into success. It's a lot of hard work, and yes, talent can be involved. But without the work, without the patience, without the strategy, you never get there. So we have to be willing to look at this, reflect on how we're doing these things, and get the things gone that aren't working. We have to check in. We have to audit ourselves almost all the time. Because if you want to get to the peak performance, if you want to reach premier performance, you have to put yourself in a spot most people aren't willing to do. And that means you're willing to set yourself up to work on the things you need to work on as often as you need to. And that can be really tough to do. So let's talk a little bit more about conscious and subconscious self-talk. Conscious self-talk is deliberate and intentional. You'll notice it when you're actively choosing words to influence your state, or where you're saying something like to yourself on purpose, like I could do this thing or I got this. It usually happens after a pause. You stop, think, and then respond internally. It takes a second to kind of build it up. It's not just a reaction. An example of that would be before a presentation, you tell yourself, slow down, breathe, make eye contact. You're kind of setting yourself up to do what you need to do. So to notice it, ask yourself when you're listening to that self-talk, if it starts with I need to or let's, check if it's kind of sounding like you're giving yourself coaching or instructions. If that's what you're doing, it's probably that conscious self-talk. So that's a way to notice how this is and what this is. On the other hand, subconscious self-talk is more automatic or reflexive. You'll notice it when it appears without you trying. It's often lightning fast. It's tied to emotional spikes like anxiety, frustration, excitement. It can feel like a voice in the background rather than something you decided to say. An example of this could be someone questions you in a meeting and your brain instantly says you're not prepared enough for this. So it's kind of just something that jumps up on you. You didn't think about it at all. It just kind of comes out. And it can catch us off guard. It can cause some problems for us, but it can be a pretty quick reaction. And one way to notice this is to pay attention to your first thought when you feel a sudden change in emotion or body tension. And this is why we have to be connected to emotions and how our body's feeling. We have to have that mind-body connection. And this is why we've talked so much about emotions in the past. So make sure to check out those episodes if you haven't, to make sure to understand what your body's communicating to you, because these signs are great signals to do different things in our life. And if we take advantage of them, you can set yourself up in some pretty awesome ways. You can also notice a fleeting, almost whisper thought before your rational brain kicks in. So it's almost happening before you think. It's just like a reaction. It's just something that shows up. So see what is showing up. See what's almost a reactive kind of thing. And if it isn't what you want it to be, try and adjust these things. Try and call it out and change these things up. A practical way to spot both is by doing a 2-minute replay after a high stakes or emotional moment. Ask yourself, what was I telling myself before, during, and after? Write down the phrases exactly as they popped into your head, no editing. And circle the ones you chose, conscious, versus ones that just happened, subconscious. It's a way to kind of parse apart who is doing what and when which piece is coming up so we can better understand. Because again, recognition is that first step. If we don't know something's happening, really hard to do anything about it. We also have different types of self-talk such as instructional self-talk. This one is focused on technique or steps. Instructional self-talk is a type of self-talk where you give yourself specific task-focused directions to guide performance. It's not about pumping yourself up emotionally, it's about telling your brain exactly what to do in clear, actionable steps. For example, an athlete before a free throw, they could say to themselves, elbow in, follow through, hold the finish. A speaker before going on stage could say, breathe in, smile, scan the room. A golfer lining up a putt could say, head down, slow backswing, smooth stroke. It works because it focuses attention on controllable actions, and it helps make things very conscious and adjustable in the moment. You're reminding yourself of what to do, and that can really help us as we guide ourselves through these things and move forward. Because if we're responding rather than reacting, things typically go better. It reduces cognitive overload by giving your brain a single clear task at a time. So it keeps it very manageable and minuscule so it doesn't feel too overwhelming or too big. It's especially useful for learning new skills or executing under pressure, where you want to block out distractions and stick to a plan. So if you haven't tried it out before, make sure to give it a shot or even just pay attention to yourself doing it, as you may have done it without even realizing it. So reflect on it a little bit and see how it's going. Another type of self-talk is motivational self-talk, which is more about boosting confidence and energy. Motivational self-talk is when you use words or phrases to boost your confidence, energy, or determination so you can push through a challenge or sustain effort. It's emotion focused rather than instruction focused. You're firing yourself up rather than giving yourself step by step directions. An example of this could be before a tough workout, telling yourself, let's go, you've got this. You could also be in the middle of a race and say something like, stay strong, keep pushing. Or maybe in a high pressure meeting, or even right before a high pressure meeting, you say you're ready, own the room. You're just kind of building yourself up. It works because it increases arousal and activation. It makes you feel more switched on. So you're kind of strengthening your belief in your ability to handle the task and building yourself up with the emotions. This helps sustain effort when fatigue, doubt, or stress sets in, because we can help ourselves push through when the logic is telling us things aren't right. There are some good times to use motivational self-talk, such as before a high-intensity performance to get in the right emotional state. We have to have the emotions meet us where we're at with what we're doing. If our emotions are too flat going into something intense, we're not going to perform in the ways we need to. We don't want to be overly amped up, but we have to get things going. We have to get things moving at the same time. During moments of mental or physical fatigue, it can help to push past limits as it pushes us to keep going. And a lot of times our mind will quit far before our body will. So pushing ourselves and showing ourselves we got this can actually help in a lot of really powerful ways, because our body wants to quit before our mind wants to quit before our body's ready to quit. So we can get our body moving and keep getting more done. And this is also helpful to use after setbacks to re-engage quickly and get back in, because things are going to go wrong, I promise. Especially if you're reaching for high levels of performance. You're going to have failures. You're going to have things go wrong. I have stuff that goes wrong all the time. That's normal. But you can't let yourself stop. You can't let yourself get knocked down and just give up. You have to keep moving. You got to keep pushing. That's why motivational videos are so powerful and also so popular. If you have a hard time doing this for yourself, you could even watch one of those and just have that be your background motivational self-talk. And you kind of slowly build it in yourself. Another type is neutral self-talk. So it's objective observation without judgment. And non-judgmental stance is a big part of DBT. We talk about that a lot because judgment makes a lot of things worse. Neutral self-talk is when you describe your situation or actions in objective factual terms without adding judgment, emotions, or labels like good or bad. It's basically narrating reality, like a sportscaster calling a game. So your brain stays grounded and focused instead of getting hijacked by emotion. Good examples of this would be in a stressful meeting. It could be something like my heart rate is elevated and my hands are warm. You're just kind of noticing things. During a game, you might say the last shot missed left, adjust aim 2 inches right. Very logical, very objective. When feeling anxious, you could say, I'm noticing rapid breathing and tightness in my chest. Just calling out the feelings, calling out what you're noticing, checking those facts. It works because it keeps you in present moment awareness instead of spiraling into judgment. Judgment accelerates emotion. So if we get caught in that, you can make things feel real bad real fast, and it can cause a spiral that might be really hard to pull out of. It also helps regulate emotional responses by separating facts from stories. Kind of separates the objective reality from the narrative we're living our life by, and that could be helpful to not have an emotional reaction to something that doesn't deserve it. It also creates a mental pause so you can respond with intention instead of reacting impulsively. When to use neutral self talk? The best time is in high pressure moments where emotions spike. There's a lot of people in high intense competitions or situations that cause things to collapse because they can't manage the emotions. You could watch any game, anyone operating at a high level, and you'll see the emotions start to go sideways at some point. Not everyone handles these things great. Some people are really good at doing it, some people aren't. And you'll see that if you just start paying attention to it and watching how people react. But once emotions get involved, you see that people aren't handling things the best, and they start responding or they start reacting instead of responding. During skill practice, to focus purely on mechanics is also another helpful piece of this, because you're focusing on just building things up logically, objectively. You're not focusing on how it feels or judging it. It can also help when trying to detach from unhelpful narratives or harsh self criticism. Sometimes we're pretty rough on ourselves, we're pretty harsh on ourselves, and we got to let go of those things. And focusing just on the objective truth or facts can really help us by keeping us neutral and not getting into those judgments and emotions. There's a lot of research out there on this stuff. Studies have shown positive self talk improves performance in sports, learning, and stress regulation, and there's a lot of it. Research on positive self talk, especially in sports psychology, performance psychology, and cognitive behavioral therapy, shows consistent benefits across mental, emotional, and physical performance. That's why we do this stuff, because it works. Here's what the literature points to: it improves performance in skill execution. A study done in 2011 was a meta analysis on self talk interventions in sports, and they found both motivational and instructional self talk significantly improved performance in fine motor skills like golf putting and gross motor skills like sprinting. And the reason why is because it directs focus to relevant cues, it reduces distractions, and it helps automate skills. Another study found that it enhances confidence and self efficacy. A study in 2009 reviewed on self talk in sports found positive self talk increases athletes' beliefs in their ability to succeed, which in turn predicts better performance. The reason why is because repeated positive statements shift self perception and expectation towards success, and we got to believe it to achieve it. I know it sounds cringy and we use it all the time and kind of laugh about it, but it's true. If you don't believe what you're doing, you're not going to get it done. You're just not. You might get lucky, but especially in a consistent way, it's not going to happen for you. Another study found that it regulates emotions and stress. The study was done in 2009, which researched on self talk and emotion regulation, and found positive self talk reduces anxiety and buffers against performance slumps while under pressure. And I'm sure that's big for a lot of you guys, where maybe things are going well for a while and then you just hit these like caves where things just start going bad and it starts collapsing and you feel like something's wrong. And you start questioning or doubting yourself. It might even lead into some imposter syndrome stuff, and we're going to get into that soon in the future. The reason for this is it reframes stress as challenge rather than threat, keeping arousal levels optimal. We've talked about looking at things as challenges versus threats in the past, so keep that in mind. This stuff's going to keep coming up because it's really important. We got to practice it. Yet another study found that it also improves focus and attention control. A study done in 2016 on self talk and attentional focus found positive instructional self talk helps performers lock onto task relevant cues and ignore distractions. The reason why is because it keeps mental resources on what matters instead of fear or overthinking. And I know a lot of you out there deal with that. Another one found that it supports resilience and persistence. The study done in 2015 on self talk and coping found positive self talk increases persistence after failure and speeds recovery from mistakes. The reason why is it encourages adaptive attributions such as "I can fix this" rather than defeatist thinking. And if we look at stuff with a really pessimistic mindset of it's all going to go bad, it's all going to fall apart, our performance goes and falls apart with all that. Bottom line, research consistently shows that positive self talk, especially when it's specific, relevant, and practiced regularly, boosts performance, confidence, and emotional control and resilience. It works best when tailored to the individual and situation rather than generic, just rah phrases hoping to hype people up. And this is why we do the work we do, where we're trying to work with people specifically because we want to tailor it to that specific person's individual situation. Because generic, broad stuff is great and it's going to help some of you guys, but it's not nearly going to be the same as tailored work focused on you specifically. And this is the power of getting a professional to work with you to do these things. That's why we're doing what we're doing. There are pitfalls, though, to self talk, such as negative self talk loops and how they sabotage performance. Research has also looked into this. Research clearly shows that negative self talk loops, repetitive automatic internal criticisms or worry, sabotages performance by increasing stress, impairing focus, and reducing motivation. So let's break down what the science says. One study found that it increases anxiety and stress. A study done in 2004 found that negative self talk intensifies anxiety symptoms during competition. The reason for this is the negative loop fuels the body's stress response, which creates cortisol release, increased heart rate, and more, which disrupts cognitive function. The result ends up being an elevated anxiety, which leads to poor decision making and motor control, and we do things we don't want to do. We're reacting instead of responding. It also disrupts attention and working memory. A study in 2001 showed that negative self talk consumes working memory resources, which are critical for complex tasks. The mechanism involved is that the brain gets hijacked by worry and self doubt, leaving fewer resources for executing skills. So, in the end, it results in just suffering of performance, especially in tasks requiring focus and precision, which is pretty important with a lot of business competitions, athletic competitions, anywhere where we're really pushing ourselves trying to get things done. They're usually pretty complicated tasks that we're working on. It also can promote a self-fulfilling prophecy. A study done in 1997 explains how negative beliefs lower confidence and increase likelihood of failure. With repeated negative self-talk, it lowers our belief in capability, which decreases effort and persistence. If we don't believe we can do it, we're not going to try. And this leads to the athlete or the performer being more likely to underperform or quit early. So we got to be aware of that and creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that we end up playing out. It can also interfere with motor performance under pressure. A study in 2001 found that negative self-talk during pressure situations increases muscle tension and errors. The physical tension from negative thoughts disrupts smooth automatic movements, which then impacts fine motor tasks like cutting or typing. They become clumsy, reaction time slow, and accuracy drops, whether we're trying to catch a ball or we're trying to do something else. Another thing that this does, another study found that it impairs emotional regulation and recovery. A study from 2015 observed that negative self-talk prolongs emotional distress after failure. The mechanism involved is rumination deepens negative mood states and delays bounce back from setbacks, which results in motivation declines and avoidance behavior increases. And avoidance behavior is really tricky because once we start avoiding things, we're actively telling our mind it's too big, it's too hard, we can't do it. And that convinces us to stop trying or to give up on it. And that creates more and more problems. In summary, negative self talk loops create a vicious cycle. It increases anxiety and distraction, it lowers performance, which then fuels more negative self talk. And this downward spiral can become automatic and extremely hard to break without deliberate intervention. So we got to take care of these things. We want to take care of them when they're small. If we let them build up, they're going to cause more and more problems for you. Now going into the other side of it, which is visualization. What is visualization? Visualization is the mental process of creating vivid, detailed images or scenarios in your mind, essentially seeing yourself performing a task, achieving a goal, or experiencing a situation before it actually happens. It's like mental rehearsal where you imagine all the sights, sounds, feelings, and even emotions involved in the experience. It matters because visualization activates many of the same brain areas as real physical practice, helping you build neural pathways, boost confidence, and improve performance without using a muscle. Common uses of this are athletes picturing their perfect race or shot, presenters imagining delivering a smooth, confident speech, or leaders mentally rehearsing tough conversations. The key factors or features of effective visualization are that it engages all senses, what you see, hear, feel, smell, if relevant. It includes emotions, how you want to feel in the moment, calm, confident, focused, or more. and practice regularly. Repetition strengthens brain patterns. We're building that neural pathway, and we do that through time and effort and by consistently doing it. So let's dive a little bit into how it works neurologically. Neurologically, the brain firing patterns mimic physical performance, like we talked about. So, brain activity actually mirrors actual performance. When you engage in visualization, mentally rehearsing a skill or a scenario, your brain activates many of the same neural circuits as if you were physically doing the task. They did studies using fMRI and EEG, showing motor areas like the primary motor cortex and premotor cortex and supplementary motor area lighting up during vivid mental rehearsals, showing that these areas of the brain are activating and being used in these moments, and that we're actually practicing and building up that neural pathway in the moment just through visualization and not the physical activity. This means your brain practices the movement patterns even without muscle movement, strengthening those neural pathways to help make it easier to get into it in the future. Self-talk also shapes neural processing. Positive or instructional self-talk influences brain regions involved in attention, emotion regulation, and executive functioning, including the prefrontal cortex and the anterior cingulate cortex. By consciously directing your inner dialogue, you can modulate brain networks responsible for focus and stress response, reducing activation in the amygdala, the fear center of the brain, and boosting prefrontal cortex control, which is going to help us with the motor movements, problem solving, thinking things through, all of that good stuff. Neuroplasticity and learning is also impacted. Repeated visualization and self-talk promote neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire and strengthen connections based on experience. This strengthens motor programs and cognitive control circuits, making actual performance smoother and more automatic over time. So again, we're building ourselves up in our ability to do these things almost as if we're practicing. And our body physically can't practice all the time, so building this into our routine can be really beneficial to maximizing the reps we can do both mentally and physically. The mirror neuron system is also getting fired as well. Mirror neurons fire both when you perform an action and when you imagine performing it. This system supports learning by observation and mental rehearsal, enhancing motor learning and empathy. So this can be a very powerful aspect as well. Emotion regulation and performance readiness is also involved with visualization. Visualization combined with motivational self-talk helps regulate automatic nervous system responses, lowering stress hormones and heart rate variability, which is a great signal to figure out how stressed out our body is and how it's managing things, putting you in an optimal zone for performance so you can maximize that performance and reach these peak levels with what you're doing and get that success. In essence, self-talk and visualization don't just feel helpful, your brain literally practices and prepares for real-life action when you use them correctly. This rewiring makes actual execution more efficient, focused, and confident. So be sure to use these things. And we also have more evidence and research in sports psychology, surgical training, public speaking, and more. With sports psychology, specifically self-talk, they did meta-analysis that show that both motivational and instructional self-talk improve performance, confidence, and focus in athletes across skill levels. That's why we do build a lot of the self-talk in, especially early on for our athletes, is we're helping them talk to themselves in ways that's going to build them up and find success and not break themselves down. With visualizations, studies found that it demonstrates the mental imagery enhances motor skill learning and execution similarly to physical practice, like we talked about. It's almost a good replacement. This is helpful, especially if you have injuries or you can't be on the field for some reason with whatever you're doing, making sure to activate that visualization and take advantage of it. Research on elite athletes confirms that visualization reduces anxiety and improves consistency under pressure. With surgical training, they also found that visualization and self-talk are increasingly integrated into surgical education. A study in 2011 found that surgeons using mental rehearsal combined with self-instruction showed that they improved technical skill, reduced errors, and better intraoperative performance. Surgeons use visualization to mentally practice procedures, anticipating challenges, and optimizing hand-eye coordination without patient risk. Again, you're building those neural pathways without actually being there performing. With public speaking, they found that self-talk, both positive and instructional self-talk, interventions reduce communication anxiety and improve delivery quality too. With visualization in public speaking, mental rehearsal of speeches increases confidence, reduces physiological arousal such as heart rate, sweating, and helps speakers maintain flow. Visualizing successful audience engagement fosters a positive mindset that translates to better presence and clarity. This is also helpful in other fields. In military training, mental imagery combined with self talk improves situational awareness and decision making under stress. So it can really build us up even in military. In music performance, visualization enhances technical precision and emotional expression. And that came from a study in 2013. In summary, across domains, research confirms that self talk enhances motivation, focus, and emotional regulation. Visualization strengthens neural pathways linked to the skill or situation, and combined, they prepare the brain and body to perform more effectively under pressure. Now, let's talk a little bit about types of visualization. We have outcome visualization, which is seeing the result. Outcome visualization is a type of mental imagery where you focus specifically on seeing the end result or desired achievement rather than the process or steps to get there. It involves imagining yourself having already succeeded, maybe winning the game, giving a flawless presentation, getting promoted. You're visualizing the feelings of pride, joy, relief, satisfaction, any of the ones that might come up with that success, and you often emphasize the external rewards or recognition tied to the outcome to really build yourself up from it. It's used because it boosts motivation by creating a vivid emotional connection to the goal, which can be very helpful. It helps us clarify what you're aiming for and reinforces that commitment. It can also increase positive emotions that support persistence to help us keep going when things go wrong, when things go bad, because it will happen. But there are limitations. If it's done alone and without process visualization, it can lead to complacency or distraction because your brain feels like it's done the work. So it's best combined with process performance visualization, which is mentally rehearsing the steps and skills needed to get the result. An example of this would be a runner imagining crossing the finish line, feeling the cheers and seeing their time on the clock, or a student picturing receiving their diploma and celebrating with family. With process visualization, which is the next one we're going to talk about, it's seeing yourself execute the steps. Process visualization is mentally rehearsing the specific actions, techniques, and steps you need to perform to achieve your goal, focusing on how you do something rather than just the end result. What it involves is typically visualizing yourself going through each part of the task with precision and control, seeing the details, your posture, timing, decision making, and adjustments, engaging your senses to feel the movements, hear the sounds, and notice the environmental cues. And it's powerful because it strengthens neural pathways involved in skill execution and muscle memory. It also helps build confidence by making the process feel familiar and automatic. And on top of all that, it reduces anxiety by preparing you for challenges and distractions along the way. Now, how does it differ from outcome visualization? Outcome visualization focuses on what success looks like, the what, while process visualization focuses on how to get there, the how. Both are important, but process visualization is key for consistent performance and skill mastery. An example of it is a basketball player mentally rehearsing dribbling, shooting form, and footwork before a game. It could also be a speaker picturing walking to the podium, pausing for a breath, making eye contact, and articulating key points smoothly. We also have multisensory visualization, which involves engaging all senses. Multisensory visualization is a mental rehearsal technique where you engage all your senses, not just sight, but also sound, touch, smell, and even taste, to create the most vivid and realistic mental experience possible. It involves seeing the environment and details clearly in your mind's eye, hearing sounds that would be present, like voices or footsteps or background noise, feeling physical sensations like breath, muscle tension, or texture of objects, smelling relevant scents like fresh cut grass, the gym floor, or even coffee, tasting if applicable, like the dryness in your mouth before speaking, or the taste of your mouthpiece, or the taste of water, whatever it might be with whatever you're doing. why it matters. Engaging multiple senses strengthens the brain's neural connections more deeply than just visualizing alone. It helps enhance it all. It creates a richer, more immersive rehearsal that improves memory and skill retention, so it makes it easier to hold on to. And it helps prepare your brain and body more completely for real world performance. An example of this is a golfer mentally visualizing the feel of the club grip, the sound of the ball being struck, the sight of the ball's arc, and the smell of fresh cut grass, really involving everything together with that visualization process. An actor could be imagining the texture of the costume, the echo of their voice in the theater, the sight of the audience, and the smell of the stage lights. Self talk can guide and narrate your visualization and help improve it and help enhance it. Visualization can make your self talk more believable and emotionally charged, which helps amps us up, helps gets us where we need to be in the right mindset to perform. The synergy effect for confidence, focus, and resilience is involved with both self talk and visualization. Self talk and visualization together creates a synergy effect that amplifies confidence, focus, and resilience far beyond what each can do alone. So we want to do all of these things together best we can. And I know we can't always do these things. I know it's not always a perfect situation. But if we can involve both of these things in the process and in the routine you got before you perform, you're going to perform better. So here's how they combine neurologically and psychologically to help boost performance. First, there's mutual reinforcement of neural pathways. Visualization activates the motor and sensory areas of the brain, priming your body and mind for action, while self-talk engages the prefrontal cortex and emotion regulation centers, helping direct focus and manage stress. We need both of these things when we're performing at these high levels. When used together, they strengthen overlapping neural circuits, creating a more robust mental rehearsal that integrates doing and believing. It also builds confidence through experience in language. Visualization lets you experience success mentally, which trains your brain to expect positive outcomes. What you believe does matter. Motivational self-talk provides the verbal encouragement that reinforces this positive expectation, and things tend to start breaking in our way. Together, they build a stronger belief in your ability to perform, which improves actual performance. We have to believe we can achieve it before we do it. And if we can see that, if we can build ourselves up, your performance is actually going to improve. Another thing that it does is it enhances focus and attention control. Visualization sharpens your ability to see and anticipate key performance cues, and instructional self-talk guides your focus toward the specific action needed in the moment to help things go. This dual approach helps block distractions and keeps you locked in at the task at hand. So this can be very powerful. It also can strengthen resilience under pressure. Visualizing overcoming challenges combined with positive self-talk trains your brain to stay calm and adaptive when facing setbacks, so you can get over them instead of getting, kind of taken down or broken apart by them. This mental rehearsal reduces the fight or flight response and supports quick recovery from mistakes. And that's huge because if we don't take care of these things, if we don't build up that resilience, if you're going through this and it feels like a threat and it activates that fight or flight response, everything's out the window. You're not thinking, you're not remembering things, you're reacting, you're doing things you don't want to do, you're beating yourself up with guilt and shame. It just goes sideways very quickly. So we want to reduce that and help keep these things regulated by going through these things and practicing these rehearsals to help be in the right mindset to perform. The synergy creates a mindset where setbacks are seen as manageable rather than catastrophe. Another one is practical outcomes. Performers using both techniques report feeling more prepared, confident, and in control. Kind of gives you control back over your body, over your system, over your emotions. The synergy boosts consistency and helps maintain high level performance even under stress. Because there's one thing we all know about high level performance is that it comes with a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. So we have to be able to manage these things and we have to be in control while we're doing it. Something you can do to manage these things and take a look at it and see how you're handling stuff is a self-talk audit. The way you do it is you track your thoughts for a day in training, competition, or at work. And you want to try and flip the script. So this is another thing that you can do with it. Take one of those common negative phrases that you may say or do, one of those thoughts that might pop up in the day, and you want to flip it into something constructive or instructional. One way I like to do this is through a technique called ants. If any of you have ever had ants, you know that if we do nothing about the ants, like the bugs, more show up. We get more of an ant attack. But if we do something about it, we try and take care of it, we get rid of the food, whatever the issue is, then we typically get less ants. This is the same thing with our own situations in our own life. But the ants in our life that we're talking about are automatic negative thoughts. So with automatic negative thoughts, what you want to do is you want to flip the script on them and make them more realistic, more honest to the situation, and you want to rephrase them to help take care of whatever it's trying to give you. Because these phrases, they're trying to give us something. It might be protection. Oftentimes it is protection. It might be a narrative that we've been so used to. It might be something else. It might be a fear of vulnerability. Who knows? But we first want to ask ourselves, whatever we put down, whatever we wrote down, whatever that phrase was, is it true? The second question is, does it make sense? The third question is, what is the purpose of the saying? And then the fourth is we want to rephrase it. So we want to reset it up. Often you'll find that whatever common negative phrase is, it's not true or it doesn't make sense, and that there is a purpose in it. So we want to reset it up for it to make sense, to be true, and to keep the purpose. And you'll often find that we can set it up in a way that feels a whole lot better. So I could say I always ruin everything. Not true, because I physically can't ruin literally everything. It's impossible. Does it make sense? Maybe I just ruined something. So maybe it's like, yeah, it kind of makes sense because I just did something that felt bad. Like, okay, kind of. The purpose of it, I don't want to go through that feeling. I don't want to fail or disappoint people. I don't want things to go bad. So it's really showing me that I care. So to rephrase this, we could say something like, sometimes I have hardships and they go bad, but I am trying my best because I really care and I want things to go well. And that's going to feel a whole lot better than I ruin everything. That's why we reset these things up. So try it out with the ant stuff if you're having trouble. If that doesn't really make sense and you have questions on it, just reach out to me and I can let you know how to do it and can break it down even in like a text message or like a DM. It's going to be a whole lot easier to explain than just talking it through over an audio where you can only hear me and I can't hear you. Another thing you can do is a pre-performance visualization routine. So you first want to relax. We got to calm the body down, make the body feel ready and prepared. If it's already on edge, you're not going to be operating in a good place. So let's relax that body. Let's calm things down. We then want to set the scene. That could be adding in pieces that we're going to focus on. That could be putting ourselves in a place where we need to be to focus on these things, whatever it is to do this visualization. And then we want to play the mental movie. So watch whatever it is. That could be us winning the game. That could be us having a successful conversation. Just going through whatever situation that we want to visualize before we go do it. And then we want to end it with an affirming self-talk, such as I can do this, or I got this, or I'm going to do great at this, or I'm the best in the world at this, whatever it is. Just something that builds you up and really lock that in. We can also use this in game or in the moment. So in that moment when a situation is happening, we can reset. It's a short visualization paired with cue words to recover from mistakes. Step 1 is to recognize the mistake or setback. Briefly acknowledge what happened. Don't suppress it, but don't dwell on it either. That could be missing a shot in a basketball game. That could be misspeaking in a meeting and it went really wrong and you accidentally offended somebody. Whatever it is, recognize it, take a look at it. Don't get stuck on it, but don't avoid it either. Step 2 would be use a quick visualization. If it's possible, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Visualize a calm, clear mental reset button. You could even go to a calm place where it'd be somewhere in your mind where it feels like everything's okay. After going to the calm place or pressing the reset button, you want to almost treat it like you're wiping the chalkboard clean and you're starting fresh, like you're getting rid of whatever was happening, whatever you were feeling. Imagine clearing out all those negative thoughts or tension and creating a space for focus and control where you're back in charge again and you're not getting wrapped up in that spiral. We also want to use cue words or phrases. That's step 3. So pair the visualization with a short, powerful cue word or phrase to anchor the reset, such as reset, or focus now, or next play, or breathe and go. Just something to get you ready to get back into action and go do what you got to do. Step 4 would be controlled breath. Take 1 to 3 deep, slow breaths, inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth to activate that parasympathetic nervous system. And the way we want to do it is by breathing out longer than we breathe in. So make sure you do that. Take a couple of those, see how that sets you back up. And then step 5 is to refocus on the task. Bring your attention to the next immediate action or objective, the next play, the next sentence, the next step, whatever it is, and then get back to work, get back to the thing. You're going to have things go wrong, and if the second something goes wrong, you start to collapse, you're never going to reach these high levels of success. To reach premier performance, you have to be willing to weather the storm and be able to succeed despite it. But to do that, you have to set yourself up to do it. You can't just white knuckle it and push your way through it. It's not going to work, and you're going to beat yourself up and be mad about it and disappointed in yourself. So do what you got to do, but set yourself up for that success. This works because the visual reset helps interrupt negative thought loops and emotional escalation to keep things controlled. The cue words also create a mental trigger that quickly shifts your mindset to where you want it instead of where it's falling to right now. And that deep breathing reduces physiological arousal, calming nerves and tension to help us feel better. So a quick example of this would be during a basketball game. After a missed shot, you say silently, reset, close your eyes for a second, imagine wiping the slate clean, take 2 deep breaths, and focus on your next defensive move. So you get back into it, you let that shot go, you do what you got to do, and you get back to the game again. There are some common issues with visualization though, such as visualization without action. If we're visualizing the thing but we don't take action or steps towards it, it's not going to help us. We have to pair these things with work. It's not enough to just sit there and visualize where you want to be all day long. You have to work. You have to go after it. You have to chase these things. Unrealistic imagery that feels fake is going to get in our way too. If you're taking it too far and you're imagining I'm going to score 200 points in this basketball game, that's never going to happen. And that's not because you're not that good. It's just that's an unrealistic expectation. It's never been done. So we can't put it too far out there. Your brain's not going to be able to accept it. It has to be something that feels like doable, something that you could succeed at. Self-talk can't be too fluffy or disconnected from reality either. If you're doing too much with it and you're putting yourself in a place that you're trying to believe something that you just don't, you're going to almost laugh at it in your own head. You have to tell yourself things that are actually believable, that you feel like could be the truth, could be happening. Another thing that gets in the way is skipping sensory detail in mental imagery. Sometimes we don't want to do that. We're just focusing on the visualization or whatever we're trying to look at. But without the senses, your body's not fully there and it's not giving you the practice that you need. So make sure to use those senses when you're doing the visualization to help yourself get more into it. And you can't apply these things outside of sports. You can do it in business. You can do it in everyday life. It could be sales presentations, negotiations, leadership presence, interviews, difficult conversations, creative work, whatever it is. It could be an issue with your spouse that you're trying to talk through. But this stuff can be used kind of anywhere you want to use it. So make sure to take advantage of it and give it some work. Practice with these things. So the last thing I'm going to give you guys before you go is kind of a challenge. I want you guys to try this out and see how it changes things. For 7 days, I want you to try an experiment. Take a daily 2-minute visualization with targeted self-talk before a key task. That could be something at work. That could be something at home. That could be a workout, a run. It could be whatever you want it to be. I want you to pick something that you're going to do every day for 7 days and do a daily 2-minute visualization with targeted self-talk tailored to that thing and do that task and see how it goes. And while you're doing that, I want you to journal results and share with me or tag my page when you're doing this so I can see how it's going. Because I'd love to see how it goes for you guys. But it might be really cool to reflect on this and see how impactful it can be just doing this for 7 days, just 1 week, and see what it gives you. So get to work on it. Try these things out. Do the mental rehearsals. Do the visualizations. Be aware of the self-talk. And let's do what we got to do to set ourselves up. Recognition is the first step. If we don't know something's happening, we can't do anything about it. So be aware of your self-talk. Be aware of your visualization, your mental imagery, what you're already looking at. And let's get this stuff into a place that's going to benefit us and help support us and not break us down. If you found something helpful in this, make sure to share this episode. If you think someone could benefit from this information, send it their way. We just want to get this stuff out there to as many people as we can. So if you could help us by sharing these things with people in your life, that would be amazing. We would love that. If it is helpful in some way, leave us a review. Let us know. Those reviews are really helpful with expanding our reach and getting these things out there. But we also just love to hear from you guys because we are trying to give you guys actionable tools, and we're making it a point because we want you to find success in your life. So we're trying to push you towards things that are going to help and build you up to go reach these goals that you have for yourself. And if it's helping, let me know. I love hearing these things. I love hearing the success stories. I love hearing the struggles. I love hearing it all. And I just love being connected with you all. I've had some great conversations. I've heard some really awesome things from people listening already. So keep us in the loop and just let me know what's going on and how it's going because I want to hear. And if you have anything you want to say, there's a lot of ways you can reach us. You can reach me through my email at tmailer@premierperformancereno.com. My last name spelled Mahler. You could text or call me directly at 775-561-0056. We have the Instagram and the TikTok with the same name, Premier_Performance_Reno, both of those. We also have the Facebook page and the LinkedIn page with the same name, which is Premier Performance LLC for both of those. And we have the Twitter or the X account at Premier Reno LLC. So make sure to jump in board, get in the community, let me know how it's going. I love to hear from you guys. And next week, we're going to keep building with these things. We have new episodes that come out every Sunday. And next week, we're jumping into performance anxiety and things that you might feel, things you might go through as you're experiencing that. All right? So check these things out, see how you're feeling. Go do the best you can. What we're building here is resilient minds for premier results. So go find that premier performance. Do the best you can be. Go have some fun in the meantime. And if you need anything at all, don't be afraid to reach out. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you soon.